I wanted to go ahead and debate if I was going to do this call this morning or not. Decided, you know what? Listen, somebody talked to somebody, and she told me, might as well do it. And in my head, I was like, okay, what kind of man would I be if I'm going to go ahead and give excuses, right? And success does not happen upon excuses. When you surpass an excuse, you go to the gym even though you don't want to. You go ahead and make door knocks, even though you don't want to. You go ahead and make dials even though you don't want to. That is what makes you a whole that's what makes you grow and become a river instead of a pond, because a river keeps on flowing. A river is like let's go ahead and put this analogy per se. If you were floating down a river in the summertime, and all of a sudden it was like a lake, and it was just staying still, where are you going to go? There was nowhere to go. You're just going to stay still. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to succeed by doing anything because you're staying in the same spot. By going ahead and doing the things that you don't want to do, you're going to go ahead and be like a river. You're going to keep on. You're going to flow. It's going to keep, and it's going to go. So therefore, I want to talk about this morning about some door knocking. I've had a lot of success throughout the years. And then a little bit about myself. I came from a company where I used to work for windshield replacement. And Nettie says, eat those frogs. Exactly. You got to take it step by step and eat those frogs. Meaning, if you guys don't know what that means by getting goals and accomplishing goals, putting a check mark and crossing your goals off your list. Because a dream is a dream until you back it up by a goal. A goal will get you to your dream. A lot of us, we get stuck on a dream is a dream and it's only something I can dream about. That's not necessarily true. A dream is a big goal. A big dream is a big, where do you want to be? Like, I want a nice house, and I want, have a nice car, and those are big, and that's a dream, right? And dreams can hit reality. There's nothing that's impossible. You can make a dream a reality as long as you're eager to back it up by a goal. And so what I'm going to talk about is I worked for a windshield shop about 3 years, and I door knocked, cold door knocking, no leads, no nothing like that. So when I heard the opportunity to be an insurance agent and that there's these things called leads, and my upline, Dennis Lyons, who I give full credit to, he talked to me about what a lead was, and I was like, wow, man, that sounds luxurious compared to going out and talking to people that I didn't even know if they were interested or not. You're going out there cold door knocking, door to door, canvassing neighborhoods, making sure that you're setting appointments for the installers. The installer goes in the next day and sets the windshield inside of the new car. Sometimes, and it's all right. It was $100 a pop, but it was no alliance. It was no insurance, and there was no residual income. I couldn't really build a team. There was the opportunity there was just not as opportunistic as it was over here. And so I started in December of 2020, and I got my license and full-time licensed, and I just quit doing windshields, man. I said, listen, I'm already making commission. Why am I going to go ahead and spend the hours working on this, knowing that it isn't going to get me anywhere? Because if I still do the same thing over and over again, I'm going to be the definition of insanity. I'm going to be doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, distracting myself. The person over there really didn't have much confidence in me, saying, listen, why are you going to go over there? It ain't going to amount to much. And those are the people that you got to just look out for. They say one thing: if you're doing the right thing, you're going to have a hater. So just know, if you're doing right, you're going to have a hater regardless. So don't care what people got to say. And so I started the Alliance, and I started off of leads that weren't so brand new. A lot of us, we sit there in the persona of trying to figure out what is the secret niche, what is the secret sauce, what's going to take me from one area to the next. Well, I can tell you here, there is no secret sauce, there's no secret niche, and Dennis Lyons will tell you the same thing for those who are on his team. Is that it's literally you. It comes down to big old YOU. You have to be the one that's willing to go out there and succeed. You have to be the one that's willing to go out there and put one foot in front of the other. You have to wake up every day. You have to go to the gym. You have to read the books. You have to buy the leads. You have to run the business. It's you. That's all that comes down to. And as long as you're willing to learn that, the business is willing for you to achieve. So as long as you're willing to learn, you will achieve things in this business that some people will not. There's only 8% of successful insurance agents out there, My boy Cody Askins, you can look him up on YouTube. He runs 8% Nation, and then he does security agent marketing. So he's very successful in the insurance business. And he says there's only 8% of people out there that are successful in the insurance business. And do you know why that is? Usually it's because people give up. People do not diversify themselves. People do not they listen, but doesn't mean that they put in the action. Or they may not listen, and then they really don't put in no action. So when it comes down to it, it's about learning the steps that need to happen so that you can go out there and be successful. You know, and I feel like that I'm qualified to talk about this. The first year in the Alliance, about 56,000. Last year was 126. This year's already at 21,000 commission out. So, you know, it's incredible what the business can do for you as long as you are willing to do it for yourself. And that's what it comes down to. So door knocking, a lot of us, we sit here and you know, we're scared and we get anxious and we get nervous and we get overwhelmed and all these things because we want to go out and door knock, but we're not sure how to, or it's a stranger and we're like, okay, well, I don't normally talk to a stranger on a normal basis. So why would I talk to him now? Well, you know, it's about getting past that fear, going in the field and going ahead and doing the things that you know you need to do, but sometimes aren't willing to do. When you're not willing to do it, you got it. That's the hardest part right there. That will keep you comfortable. And that word comfortable is very, very dangerous because that word comfortable will keep you like a lake, will keep you solidly in one place and you will not move. You will not move. Because if you're sitting in a spot and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results, that's where insanity comes into play. You have to be willing to take your foot and put it in front of the other and keep on stepping. And I got my boy Dennis Lyons on here. So I want to go ahead and Dennis, I'm going to go ahead and door knock you. I know you just got on here, but the biggest section of this call today, besides making dials, is going to be door knocking, and I want to kind of role play that with you.
Okay.
All right. So, knock knock.
Hello.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis, how's it going?
All right. So you sound like you're on the phone. We're door knocking this, or we're phone calling?
We're door knocking this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, what's up? What do you want?
Hey, my name's Jose. I've been assigned to be your benefit coordinator out here in Everett, Washington. I've been trying to get you on a phone. I guess you don't answer any phone calls you don't recognize.
If I don't know the number, man, I don't answer it. They can leave a message. Did you leave a message?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. The reason I don't is because I got a Florida number. It's a 352. Probably one of the biggest reasons why you didn't answer my phone call. And you're probably wondering why you got even a Florida number. I used to live there for 3 years. Now I live out here, but I didn't. And usually I'll just get out to them because I'll just try to come out here and get it out to you guys. And since I was out here in the area, I figured I'd stop by and kind of see what was going on. I'm getting back out to you about the request. It looks like you sent in to us regarding your final expenses. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. Is that it right there?
Yeah, my job is to go over this information with you. I have about my job is to go over this information with you. Do you have a table or a couch to sit at to go over this information?
When did I send this in? When was that?
You said I got this about a couple days ago because I got it on Monday. I tried to give you a call on Monday. I called you about 3 times and I couldn't. So again, I figured since I was out here, I'd stop by and kind of see what's going on. My job is to go over
what's it about?
Yeah, so this is regarding your final expenses. If anything happens to you, it doesn't leave your family with a financial burden.
Oh, okay. You mean insurance?
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit of everything. I work with about 50 companies and 200 different benefits. My job, again, is just to go over this information with you, kind of see where you're at, and then see what you qualify for.
How long does it take?
Shoot, man, I say maybe about 20 minutes. I'm super busy. I got about 30 to 40 of these to get out to people. I'd say probably about 20 minutes.
What was your name again?
Jose.
All right, come on.
All right, awesome. Boom. Man, this is a nice house. How long have you lived out here, Dennis?
We've been here about 14 years.
You've been here about 14 years. Okay, awesome. Where'd you originally come from?
Uh, Canada.
What brought you all the way down to Washington from Canada?
Well, it's colder here. We like the cold weather.
You like the cold? Well, it's definitely cold in the wintertime. It gets hot in the summertime, but majority of the year, you know how. So you've been here 14 years. You know, do you like this a lot better than Canada?
It's nice. I like the mountains.
So you see,
And we can shoot here. I can shoot here.
That's what's important. You see, like, this is how you do it. A lot of us, we overthink the steps that we need to take, you know. So when we're sitting there, sometimes people, and when Dennis gives me that pushback, it's about answering the objective and then going around the objective. So you're going to answer that objective, you're going to go around it, and you're going to ask another question.
Whether that's on the phone or not, you acknowledge it, like you're saying, right? And you make a statement and ask a question. Al's on here, Michelangelo's on here. They both heard me say that before. Phrase, make a statement, but end that statement with a question. And so the question could be, when did I send that in? Or is that, I didn't send that in. You know, they might say that like in a question. Well, is that you? I show it to them. Or let me make sure I got the right person. Are you so-and-so? And you know, this is the right street address, right? Oh yeah, obviously. So this is when you sent this in. And though most people, unless they're just jerks, and we run into everybody, right? Most people are going to go, oh, okay, yeah, that's my handwriting, or yeah, I sent that in. What's it about? They're going to ask those questions. But Jose's point on, and he's an expert at this. He does really, really well with it. So,
you know, and that's the thing. A lot of us, we don't realize that, you know, we kind of just get in our heads and we get scared when we're at the door and so we're not sure what to say to somebody. You don't really have to know what to say. You just got to say something. I mean, it's better to say something than it is to sit there and be in awkward silence. And next thing you know, you're not going to get in the house. All you got to do is ask. They say, okay, let's play into this, Dennis. Let's go ahead and say, I'm door knocking you. We already went past that. Now we're at the door, and you tell me that you already have a life insurance policy.
Sure. Man, I've already got a policy, and I got somebody I work with.
Oh, you do? When did you get that? Because we didn't have no record of anybody helping you out.
We got it about 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago. Okay. And then is that a whole life? Is that a term? What is that?
I think it's a whole life.
You think it's a whole lot? You think? When's the last time you looked into the declaration page?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while.
Okay, so the one thing that I know when it comes down to the insurance policy is basically you want to know what you have in place so that when you pass away, because I see this all the time, Dennis, is where people think they have what they have and it's not realistically what they have. And so when they pass, their loved ones aren't getting paid out a death benefit. Maybe it's a term. In 10 years, it'll go up and you live for 20 more. You know, every year, maybe your price will go up. Did your insurance agent, when you sat down with him, go over that with you?
Not really. In fact, I got it. I think I got it through the mail.
Okay, so is that a graded? Is that 2-year waiting period?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. What is that?
So basically a 2-year waiting period is if you die within, I've seen this all depending on the insurance company that you got. What insurance company did you get, by the way?
I'd have to look at it. I don't know.
Okay, this is what scares me is that you're not sure about what you have. And I want to make sure that what you have is suitable for you and that you have something that you're paying every month that benefits you and your family. So when you pass away, what you're paying on is actually what you're paying on and it's going to be there for you guys. A 2-year waiting period, what this does is every single month you pay into this policy for 2 years. If you die within 2 years, you are not going to get the benefit. You are going to get the benefit. You're going to get the money that you paid, the initial premium that you paid every single month, plus 10%. Now I've seen it up to 3 years. I've seen it up to a 4-year waiting period. And it not necessarily is it at 10%. Sometimes I've seen it down to 5%. Do you have that policy on you?
Let me interrupt for just a second because Jose's making a really important point here. And you run into this all the time, which is why I brought up you get it through the mail. I got it through the mail, right? Or somebody or somebody just puts them into a graded policy because they're easy. They can write them and get them issued. But a lot of times people do that and they qualify for a better policy. So Jose's heard me say it many times. It's not about what the policy is, it's about what they qualify for. But people end up in these graded policies and they may qualify for something that gives them twice the coverage for half the money in a much better policy structure with level issue. And you have an opportunity now to fix that when you hear somebody say it's a graded policy. The other thing is graded policies range a lot in prices. We have so many options. Even if somebody only qualifies for graded, we have an opportunity maybe to put them in a much better price structure, or a higher death benefit, right?
I see
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. A lot of these people, they get these policies through like different companies. I'm going to post this public, so I ain't going to go out there and blast companies. But there's different companies. Let's just say this: there's different companies out there that the seniors will see on the TV, and they're going to call them up because it's convenient to them. And they don't really, if they're not getting if they're not getting marketed to, then they're not going to really send in a request. They're not going to really send anything online. If they, especially, they just call them up something. And a lot of these times, these people don't even know because the people that they buy it from they're really not their insurance agents. They're just overall, they're with the company. So they don't have a direct insurance agent. And the person there is just there to set them up. And they're probably on the phone getting paid hourly to do so or whatever. And so when it comes down to logistics, they're not going to sit there and they're not going to explain everything. They're not going to show them. They're not going to anything. They just say, oh, hey, okay, you want $10,000 for $50 a month? We'll go ahead and apply for this, knowing damn well that on the back end of that policy in 5 years, that policy is probably going to go up to $70. And they're people, they don't know. I mean, you got $9.95 a unit and stuff like that. You've got policies that go up every 5 years and drop off at 80. You've got policy. I mean, shoot, I've seen policies where they're at 80 and they're paying 100 and some bucks for $5,000. That's pretty gross. I mean, that's, taking advantage of somebody and putting them into a pretty shit product that isn't going to be there when they pass away. And so these people that are stuck on a Social Security disability, because when you're sitting down with somebody, you don't just look at the overall surface. And if you're becoming a super successful insurance agent, you don't just skim the top. You find a rabbit hole, you go down it, and you start seeing what's in that hole. Okay, they got this down here, they got this, they got retirement, they got this, they're in debt, blah, blah, blah. What can we do to help these people and get them out of that hole? Because they're in that hole for a reason. And that's why, because they haven't had somebody like you, Alfred, like you, Michelangelo, Dennis, Nettie, to be there and sit with them and go over it with them directly. They just had somebody maybe call them on the phone. And maybe if they did, they've had insurance agents that go in there, really don't care about them. They just care about the premium. I mean, for instance, Alfred, I went into a home the other day, and again, I'm not going to be blasting names, but I went behind an insurance agent. The lady had an AmeriCorps policy. She thought she didn't qualify for the AmeriCorps policy. I called AmeriCorps up and said, they're like, no, she qualified. So he took her away from that, put her into a Prosperity. I can only see why, because it was less expensive, which is a good thing. But he left so much opportunity on the table that I went in there, became the insurance on record, and I found $800,000 that the person never even spoke to the lady about. And so we built the trust and we built rapport and we built everything else. And now we got $800,000 being moved because I did the due diligence. And you walk in there, you got cancer, heart attack, stroke policies, you got accident. If they're anybody under a 70, as long as they're under 70, they better have an accidental. You get 200,000 for $20 a month, $16 a month. I mean, how can you go wrong? That is literally pennies on the dollar. You print, so my friend Belle Krause, she told me what you want to do is you want to print out the accidental sheet with all the rates on it. You laminate that, you take it in there in the house with you, and you show them, and they'll point out. And it's weird. It's weird how it works. But if you go in there and you show them a whole life policy for $10,070 a month, they're like, ah, I'll go with that one. The middleman, right? Usually is what they go for, right? Sometimes they'll go less, sometimes they'll go more. But usually on average, it's about the middleman. But if you walk in but if you show them a supplemental policy on top of their comprehensive coverage, now their supplemental policy, they're going to see 200,000. They automatically go for the higher they go for the higher benefit and for less premium because it makes more sense. So it's just a self-conscious thing. Now you're selling bigger premium. You're getting bigger premium, and you're helping them out with more coverage. So it's one of those things when you're inside of a home that you just want to know about. And it'll help you and take your business to a whole nother level. But again,
So
Dennis can go.
I was just going to say, these principles are the same, whether you're face to face with someone or whether you're on the phone with them. On the phone, it takes a slightly different skill set because everything is about very specifically. You don't have body language. You're not reading body language. So very specifically, it's about your tone and your ability to essentially use words that evoke responses from people. Reference, really pushing those pain points, really talking, what's the purpose of this? What do you have the insurance for? Oh, so my daughter doesn't have to pay for my funeral. Okay, there's a button you're going to keep pushing. You're going to expand on that. You're going to get them to, how old's your daughter? Where does she live? You're going to start really digging in and get that person to connect over the phone. You've got to do those kind of things.
There's a problem. There's usually a problem, Dennis, is when people ask these questions of why did you send this in? And they don't, I mean, you can, again, a lot of us, we skim the surface. They say, oh, I just want to protect my family. Okay, right. Yeah, I want to protect my family. But they don't go into detail. Why do you want to protect your family? Because when my mom passed away, she didn't have anything in place, and my sister and my nephew went homeless. Okay, now you're really hitting depth. And now you're making them think, okay, so when you pass away and if you didn't have anything in place, how would that affect your family? Right? Okay, well, financially, they want to be able to afford it. Okay, so if they weren't able to afford it and there was nothing in place and you ended up passing away tomorrow, next week, I mean, what would that picture look for them? They would be homeless. I mean, okay, they would be homeless. Would that be ideal? No, that's why I'm trying to get this insurance policy. Okay, Dennis, that is why I'm here. My job is to go over this with you thoroughly so that I can make sure whatever we help you out with is beneficial to you and your family, and what you have in place is going to be there for you and your family. That's huge.
One other thing now. So you and I are still standing at the door. I haven't let you in the house yet. That's where we were in our conversation. But in preparation for getting in the house, and I've spoken to, I think, I've spoken a lot about this before. We have on our Alliance University Advanced Resources page a policy review checklist, and it tells you how to review a term or a whole life policy. Basically the same. And you need to have that policy review checklist. Once you do it, once, 2-3 times, you'll have it. I mean, it's like riding a bike, you'll know what you're doing. You don't need to pull out a checklist, but until then, you should have it handy. If you're over the phone doing it with people, you should have it handy. Those are questions. When you ask the people those questions, just as Jose was doing, standing there at the door, sitting there on the phone, you're asking them questions they do not know the answers to. They don't know what kind of policy it is. They typically don't know the difference between the types of policies. They don't know if it's graded or not. If they bought it through the mail or they called it 1-800 number, they have a graded policy typically. And again, most of the time people qualify for a much better policy and at a better price. So we have an opportunity And I always use the term capture all the premium. Don't go in there and think, I'm going to write an additional policy. I'm going to review what's in place so that I can capture all the premium in the house. If they're already putting $80 a month out and they want to buy another policy for another $40, I want that 80 too. I want all of it. I want the 120, maybe more. And I'm going to do that to help them. But that's my goal. And I only do that by getting them to show me or tell me what they have. Now, most of the time, people might not know what kind of policy they have, what the company is. They might have an idea what their death benefit is. They really don't know how all that works. But what they usually know is how much they pay for it, because they see that coming out of their checking account or on their credit card or wherever it's coming from. They see that every month. So they know, oh, yep, it's $39 a month, or it's $122, whatever it is.
And,
They
the
usually
less
know that.
and the less these people have, like at the Social Security, that's $900 a month, the more that they're going to micromanage what they spend, because they want to know exactly where their every dollar is going, because they don't really have a lot of money. So so when they see that bill, they're going to be like, oh shoot, what can I get rid of that's going to free me up more money? Is literally what's going to happen. And if you don't hit a pain point and you don't hit something and it's be like, hey, this is going to be the most important bill that you have from here on out. And if you need anything, please let me know. Like, if they don't know that and they don't realize every time they see that bill coming out and they have no emotional connection to that bill, they're going to be like, okay, let's go ahead and just cancel this and free it up. The next thing you know, you're getting charged back. And that's the problem. That's why when I leave the home, I ask these three questions. Do you have a firm understanding of what we did today, Michelangelo? Do you feel comfortable with what we did today? Do you have any questions? Or is there any reason in 3 months or 5 months, 6 months of why you should get rid of this policy? Or do you think this is firmly placed in place now? Well, I think it's firmly placed. Okay, awesome. Now, those 3 to 4 questions, you ask those and those will help you. It's like you setting the appointment on the phone. You ask, what color is the house? Is the number on the number on the letterbox of the home? Is what is the house? What basically is it easy to address? Easy to find. You get them thinking, and you're basically taking a bow and you're tying the knot and you're sealing the deal. Is what you're doing. You seal the appointment. You seal the and that's why when I door knock, I leave a note with them. I'm like, if you're anything like me, I forget easy unless it's written down. So I'll leave them a note. Jose, meeting with Nettie on Monday at 12 p.m. on top at date, Jose Compton, phone number 352-421, blah, 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 blah. That, and so I put that on there and I say, hey, listen, I'm going to squeeze you down to my calendar. Here's this. I'll see. It's a pleasure getting to talk to you. Nettie, I will see you on Monday. And that is exactly what you do. You're tying that knot. And if a lot of us, well, I've seen it happen. Oh, hey, I'm gonna be there at 12 o'clock. Okay, all right. Nice talking to you, Nettie. Bye. Beep. Like, they're gonna forget. I mean, it's 3-5 days. I say try to stick it within 12 to 24 hours. And if they give you pushback, Alfred, and they say, oh, can we just do this next week? Hey, Alfred, I wish that I could. Unfortunately, they got me super busy right now. I have about 30 to 40 of these to get out to people. I really never know where they're going to have me. I know that I'm only out here the next couple of days, and I would love to get this out there to you and go over with you, see how I can help you. Okay, are you more of a morning person, afternoon? And then they say afternoon or morning. And you tell them, then you book a time. Always give them an option. I got 12 o'clock or I got a 1:30. Which one works better for you? Boom, 12 o'clock. Okay, awesome. I'll be out here at 12 o'clock. I'll make sure that I squeeze that into my calendar here, and I'll be here at 12 o'clock. And then if you're anything like me, I forget easy unless it's written down. Then you write it, and then you give them that sticky note. And now that you give them that sticky note, it's sealed. You're sealed. It's like, and sometimes you're gonna get people that are no-shows. You're gonna get people that stand you up. You got people that are just gonna give you crap at the door. But listen. If you haven't read that book, Go for No, you need to read that book, Go for No, because it's not about how many yeses can I get. It's about how many no's can I go past to be able to get a yes. Because that right there will tell you that it's, they say something about this in the book. This is a way that I've been able to close a lot of annuities this year already and move some money, is that it's based off, it's not about the amount of people that you're going after, it's about the quality of the people that you're going after. So if you can go into somebody that's got, they got an average bank account or an annual yearly payout of $25,000 versus you got this person that's $50,000 making 50. I'm going to go after the group that's making $50,000 and go get many people and go get as many no's as I can get, because in there I'm going to find a yes, and in there I'm going to get out of those yeses, I'm going to end up finding me some annuity money. And that's why, and this is why I put an income restriction on my stuff. And that's another topic, but it's not, and you read that book, it shows you that about the quality of the people, and it's about the quantity of no's that you get. And the quality of no's that you get is the quantity of the yeses that you're going to get. Because not every person is going to say no. You could be the most shittiest insurance agent and go out there and look at 100 people, and you might get into 10 houses and close 2. That's still 2 policies that you did not have before. That is by just going out there and doing the do. I've seen Kevin Abood, who just hopped on here, seeing him grow from not even wanting to go out and doing a door knock to going out and doing a door knock. And every time I speak to Dennis, he's like, listen, Kevin just got into a home, selling another one, $1,000 premium, selling another one. It's because he's going for the no. He's going for the no. He doesn't care about the people that are like, no, I don't want you. Can you get off my effing porch? Can you just leave me the fuck alone? Like, he doesn't care about that. He cares about the people that are like, hey, yeah, come on inside. Let's see what we can do. And then next thing you know, Kevin's sitting there inside, and he's thoroughly going over that with everybody, seeing where he can help them. When you sit down with people and you go and you get that chance to come inside and go in their house, you best believe, man, you're going to do as much as you can. Heart attack, stroke, cancer, you got accidental, you got whole life, you got term. What products can I help this family out with? And then for those that are uncomfortable with the ERSs, because I'm not afraid to admit where my weaknesses are. I am not comfortable doing an ERS. Doing ERS is just something about it that just does not, I don't feel comfortable. But by me asking, say I just did this the other day, Dennis. I went into the home. Let's go back. So 3 months ago, I sat down in a home and I got Socorro and I got her husband coverage. Socorro's husband ended up passing away. So Socorro, looking at the bank accounts and doing everything and looking over everything and making sure that everything's straight and narrow, found that she had 3 other policies. She canceled one of them, she canceled mine, and she kept the biggest premium. The biggest death benefit. So I went back in there and said, hey, let's go ahead and do a policy review. So I went in there and did a policy review. Come to find out that Transamerica does a 10-pay. So yes, she was paying $92 on a policy that she'd pay out for the rest of her life. But then I got her into a policy that's $160, and you can do the math on this. So it's only for 10 years. At 10 years, she stopped paying. So 83, her Social Security check is freed up again because she doesn't have to pay that bill no more. And she's got that money. So when she's older, she has more money and she still has coverage. That is crazy. Whereas if she had that $92 policy, she would have been paying for the rest of her life, and that would have been just stuck in. That's a bill that she's paying. If she lives all the way till 90, she's already paying a lot more than she would have paid at 83. So I sit down with her. Next thing you know, I talk to her niece. We're getting her niece coverage, got her an accidental because she had another policy, and the predicament that she's in is just hard for me to get her a policy. So then you got the kids, 3 IULs. Then you got the mom, got her some policies. Then you got Socorro's brother, got her policy. And then you got, the niece's brother, got them policy. And it's about, when you go inside, you need to go in there and you need to come in there full blazing. You need to talk to them about the cover. You need to talk to them about their coverage. You need to talk about what they have, talk about their family, talk about what their family has coverage. Do the people that are afraid to ask these questions will be staying afraid to make the money. As long as you ask these questions, that's going to take you down a rabbit hole, a great rabbit hole. And next thing you know, and now you got the family, and you got the family, and you got the family, you got the family, you got the friends, you got the friends, and then you got more friends and family. And now you're covering everybody. And it's about expanding. It's like in a wildfire doesn't happen all of a sudden. A wildfire starts with one resource in one area. And as soon as you start with the area and you light that fire, and that fire gets full blaze and it gets hot and the wind goes and everything, you know, your momentum is going, then the forest is on fire. And that's how it happens. It does not happen all of a sudden. But as soon as you're willing to get in front of that door and get inside and ask the questions that need to be asked, soon enough your bank account's going to be willing to accept the paychecks that are coming your way. And it's not being greedy. It's not being, okay, I'm only thinking about the paycheck. Because again, we're sitting there doing what's right for our client, and we're doing the things that we need to do so that when we get to the point of writing a policy, we know when the comfortable in our heart that we can go to bed at night and knowing that what we did was beneficial to our client. Look, if you guys aren't moving money, you guys need to talk more about it. If you guys aren't writing insurance policies, you need to talk more about it. If you're not writing it on the family, you need to talk more about the family. Everything that you want to do is all started with a conversation. As long as you're willing to start a conversation, they're willing to talk to you about it. You will never get the pizza if you never ask for pizza. You will never get the gold if you never ask for gold. You will never get the mentorship from Dennis, me, or anybody else if you never ask for it. So therefore, everything in life is all followed up by a question. The more that you're willing to ask, the more that you're willing to learn, the more that you're willing to, do, it's more. You got to be willing. Willing is a huge word. And that is where it comes down to you being successful, because we can all be an insurance agent and we can all have a license. It's all about what we do with that license that makes us more than the other person. That makes us ahead of the crowd. That makes us ahead of their other insurance agent. And I talk to these people, and sometimes I haven't talked. You ask, when's the last time you talked to your insurance agent? I haven't talked to these people in 2 years. What do you mean you haven't talked to these people in 2 years? As soon as I got the policy, I never heard from him. He's like, I tried calling him, I hear nothing. I said, that's crazy. I talk to my people every 6 months, every year. I said, you should have heard by him at least twice by now. I said, that's crazy. I said, what, and then ask those questions. Like when I'm talking to my mentor about moving over money and finding money, he tells me this. It's about finding a pain spot. If they don't have, Jose, if they don't have no pain spot, then what can we really do to help them? Is it going to be beneficial? Like they have what they're at. There's times that I've been into a home, and I just did one the other day last week, where I was in a home and I sat down with my mentor, and he was sitting there and he was like, there's nothing that we can do for this person. They're legitly in a good situation. And it happened before that. There's nothing we can do for this person. But if you can find a pain spot, you can find a problem, you can find a fix. And that is where it comes down to. We're all about fixing problems. Everybody in America has a problem. The people that are rich are willing that are there to be able to fix them. And that is how you become rich, by able to fix a problem. Look, every single one of us, we're a recruit. We're somebody in the alliance, they recruited us somewhere, somehow. And it was because we had something that was missing. We had something that we wanted. We have something that we want. And we had a problem. We maybe weren't able to get so far. We were only making $10 an hour, $20 an hour. We were capped. We were our time, there's a lot of different things. And as long as we're willing to be, and Dennis was there for me when I needed somebody and I needed to grow, and that he fixed my problem. And now look, and that's just the mentality that you have. And when you're door knocking, I could go off and off and off and off and off and off about this. And it's because I do it every single day. It's because I've learned, because I listen. because I've been around Brian Rojas, Stephanie Rodriguez, Michelle Collin, Mike Hartley, Dennis Lyons. I've been around the top players, and you just get and you listen to these people and you let them pour into you. And you take it's and not just let them pour into you, but you take what's poured into you and you put it into action. And it's just crazy, and the door knocking thing, it's not scary. I've heard so many times that people get anxious. I've heard so many times that people get anxiety. And I said, how do you do that? How? I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it's just, and maybe in the beginning I was nervous and stuff like that. But once you start doing it, it's like anything else. Once you start doing something, you grab the momentum and you just go along with it, you're going to be all right. I mean, you're going to get so numb to the fact that somebody says no to you, it's not even funny. Oh, you said no to me? Ha! Well, I go into the next house, you're writing a $3,000 AP. Like it's just that situation.
I do it all the time, and I give you just Saturday. I had a good day Saturday. I wrote 3 policies, and not one of them were under $1,000 in AP. So, that turns into a decent day. But the last house I went up to, I drove past it, and I went on down the block, and I'm like, I don't want to go up there. I don't want to go. I just don't, I'm prejudging it. And I build up all this. Me, I mean, I do this all the time, and I'm prejudging the house, thinking, I'm not going to go. They're not going to answer. They're going to be mean to me. I was putting all that stuff in my head, and I thought, okay, I'm driving by because I'm heading out of the neighborhood, and I thought, I got to stop. I'd pull up to the house, go up. Next thing I know, I'm in the house writing them a policy, and they had a need that had to be addressed, and that's why they filled out the lead and sent it in, and nobody had helped them. A lot of times when I'm standing there, or if I'm on the phone with people, I use a simple line, and that is, that really is, I'm a senior underwriter in the area or in your area. I personalize it as much as I can, and we don't have record that anybody helped you. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you. And I'll ask them, were you able to get anybody to help you with this? And that's when they start to tell me whether or not they have a policy or not. That's when they open those doors to me, and that's important. So what Jose is saying, it's the dialogue, but it's also overcoming. Here I am. I do this all the time. I'm really successful at it, but I can drive by a house and go, I don't want to go there. They're going to be mean to me. I've got to get ready for the rejection. I was in the military, and one of the things the military taught me is things that we're going to do are going to suck. And what do? You embrace the suck. So that's what we do. We understand that a part of our business is rejection. And in reality, that's the case no matter what you're doing. You just have an opportunity here to make a lot more money per hour than anybody else has an opportunity to do. And we get to really face that fact that we're going to embrace the suck and overcome it. When in other businesses, we don't do that. We just don't do it. We walk away. We let our supervisor do it. Whatever. Well, we're our own supervisor, man. And those are important concepts to be able to deal with every day. Every day. I remember last year I was doing a online training with one of the VPs from Humana. This guy's been in the business 30 something years. And he was talking about how he was doing exactly what I did last Saturday. He looked at the situation and he thought, oh, this isn't working. This isn't going to work. I can't do this. And he hit all these things that I feel all the time. And he goes, wait a minute. This is working. I've been doing it for all this time. I know what I'm doing. Or I know I just need to do it to get the experience, to get through it. And every time you do it, you get better at it. Right, Jose?
100%, and it's by doing it that makes you a different person. And I asked my friend this morning, And I started seeing a difference in me. And I asked her, I said, do you, and I asked this out of curiosity, I said, do you see a difference in my attitude? And she says, yeah. I said, do you think it's positive or do you think it's negative? Right. I'm always self-assessing because I always want to make sure that I'm humble. I want to make sure that I'm not being overbound, and I want to, and that's what I do. And she said, no, I think it's out of the goodness. I think it's good because you know who you are. You're knowing who you are. And and you're just confident and you know what you want and you know how you're going to get it. And I said, okay, well, that's it. And that's going to happen to every single one of us. And it may be a change is scary and it can be very, very scary because a lot of us, we are scared of the unknown. We get comfortable with what we know and we're not willing to change. And once we start changing and we start seeing different things and see our mindsets somewhere else and everything else around us is growing and you're like, whoa, like how is this happening? How do we get here? Like just self-evaluate. And that's what I had to do this morning. And it's just, it makes you feel good. It makes you know that you listen down deep inside, you're not going to let no shit get to you. You're just going to keep on doing the do, and you're going to step around the shit that comes your way. And but a lot of us, we will stay there and we will, be like, oh my God, Dennis. I used to do this all the time, a little bit less now. I call Dennis up and I say, Dennis, look, man, I haven't wrote a policy since Monday. I don't know what's going on with me. Why is this happening? I can't, and sometimes we feel very bipolar inside this business, and because we have mixed emotions and we go through different things and we see different things, and we try to self-reevaluate the situation. And Dennis is like, dude, just keep on doing it. Patrick Connor says, you're pregnant, you're about to pop anytime soon now, so just keep on doing it. And next thing you know, it's Thursday and I'm writing 10 policies that day. And I'm like, wow, if I would have gave up and I wouldn't have kept on stepping, do you think those 10 policies would have came my way? So it's about getting in front of the door. It's about getting in front of the phone. It's about getting in front of things that you just don't want to do, but you're doing it anyways. Waking up, going to the gym every morning, waking up, going, and it's these things that you learn. I mean, and it's from big to small. I learned last week. I sat down and talked to Dennis. I said, shit, man. I said, I've saved a lot of money this month. And he said, and then we started talking. I said, listen, I'm just saying, just go to the store and start buying food instead of eating out every night or every day. Maybe spending $20 in the morning and then $50 at night on food, $70 there. That's $140. You times that by 30. You times that by whatever. And I spent about $1,500 to $2,000 a month on food. And I was like, this is ridiculous. What can I do to change it? Again, it's self-evaluation. And next thing you know, I changed that situation and I started going to the store and buying food. And this week, it can't nothing crazy. I mean, shoot, you're building a business. Sometimes you got to sit there and you got to do the things that you got to do. Top ramen noodles. In the beginning, I heard so many damn stories where people are buying a pack of Top Ramen, $12 or whatever it is, $10. And next thing you know, they're a whole week they're eating Top Ramen and beans and everything else because they don't want to spend that money, because they want their focus, because they want to, instead of spend that money here, there, and everywhere, they're spending money at their business and they're chucking money at their business. And they're like, okay, I'm going to give it here, I'm going to give it there, and this and that. And next thing you know, they're building multi-million-dollar businesses. And that's how you become, and that's how you do it. And it's just these things that you learn by doing the do. If you don't do the do, you ain't going to learn what you need to do, right? Do you guys have any questions? No, Alfred, no.
So I know, go ahead, Al.
No, I'm good. I'm listening.
Okay. Jose, I recommended, I know Kevin's using Bang Bang. Michelangelo and I were talking this morning about looking at leads in his area. And I wanted you to talk about your relationship and what you're generating with Bang Bang right now.
Yeah, so basically, I will say this, that I am a co-sponsor of Bang Bang. I work closely with John Davis. Not like I'm not in his office or anything like that, but if anybody has any questions, they can ask me too. Basically, when it comes down to the Bang Bang leads, I spent here many, and I say many months. Dennis, how many months was it? Like 6 months here, beating my head against the wall, trying to find a solution, something like that. Every day, just trying not to, and I'm a grown ass man, trying not to tear up because I didn't know the solution. And I was like, man, how the fuck, excuse my language, am I gonna find a solution that does me well? I mean, the direct mail were all right, but they were very expensive. I couldn't fill my leads. The LPT, I got a lot of people that were on subsidy and maybe $10 premiums. And I'm like, man, this sucks, dude. What do I gotta do? And all of a sudden, by doing multiple different things, I sat down and I said, John Davis, listen, man, I want to work with you. I see something here. I want to what can we do to be able to make sure that I got a more high quality lead? He said, okay, let me see what I can do. We could have income restriction on my leads. So it started at 25 and I seen a little bit of hiccups inside of that. And I was like, no, let's bump that up a little bit more. So I went to 30,000. So now my leads that I get, nobody do I get under $30,000. And that is how I've been able to find money and get into a home and know at least I say this, if I buy 50 leads, I'm finding one person that has money already. So out of January and February, I've written shit, man. I found 1.6 million. Current clients, it was another couple 100,000. So about $1.8 million I moved over in money assets this year already. And the only reason why I'm not on the leaderboard is because it's catching up. So that's the thing, is that when it comes down to these Bang Bangs, they're low in cost. They cost me $10. I buy 500, I get 50 to 55, and 50 to 55, dude, it lasted me 2 weeks to work these things, because when you're in a home and then like I said, you're finding a buyer and you're going, and the next thing you got family, got this person, you're out there working. And it's going to take you a minute. The longer, you're in that home for a couple hours, that's a couple hours right there. And all depending, I mean, that is going to get you, and I say probably if I spend $1,000 inside of a month, I'm easily going to make 10,000 or more. I mean, I've seen it where I spent a couple hundred and made 10,000, made 15,000 just by spending a couple hundred. The more that you spend, the more that you're going to get. And I'm not going to tell you just go put two. I would say at least a minimum of $500. And that right there is going to generate you some good success. I mean, you got Kevin Bood running them. I could sit here and talk all day long, but let's hear from somebody else. Kevin, what do you think about the?
Yeah, I've had pretty good luck with those leads, and I spoke with John also, and if you use that code N247RU, you get them half price. I haven't put a income restriction on my leads. I work in a lot of areas. I talk to a lot of people where other people don't want to go. So I'm keeping it the way it is right now. I might move it up. I'll talk with them in a week or two and see, if we want to make a change. But right now, it's kind of working good for me. I'm getting at least 40 leads a week. And, like you said, I mean, I'll go out, me, I was dead against knocking on doors.
Right.
And I just never wanted to knock on the door. Now, the way I am, I'm buying leads. Nobody answers the phone. So they're going to have to say no to me to my face. I'm going to talk to them.
You see, that's what I'm going to be doing this week, because I'm not buying really new leads. I still got some leftovers, and then I'm going to take some leads that I haven't even gotten in front of. And a lot of us, we don't do that. It's about sitting there trying to go ahead and we'll door knock at one time. Oh, if they're not there, and next thing you know, we're tossing the lead, and we're not going to go back out there and door knock it. So you need a follow-up game. It needs to be strong. Your follow-up game is strong, then you'll ride it. At least you're going to ride another couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand out of there. What made you? So when it comes down to door knocking, Kevin, what you transition from not wanting to door knocking? What made that happen?
Success. When you sell that first one, Dennis told me, well, if you can sell one, you can sell 1,000. So that's my motto now. You know what? It's funny because sometimes I'll leave the house and I'll have like 15 addresses in that Road Warrior lined up. And I might get to 10 or 12, man, and some people weren't home or you haven't sold a policy and you start getting down, then all of a sudden, okay, I got to hit this one more. You hit that last one and bang, man, you just never know. You just never know when it's going to happen.
What
It gets addicting. It gets addicting, man. Once you start selling them, it's like, okay, here's 20 more for today. I'm going.
let
No
me
matter what.
let me ask you something, Kevin. You see people all the time, man, saying that, oh, we're gonna switch to phone sales. Oh, we're gonna do it over the phone. And yes, that's good. And for a higher content, for maybe like and I tell people, if you're gonna do it over the phone, you need to buy more leads. Where if you were gonna do it in the field, you buy 20, you may need to buy 200, right? So leads,
I'm having is nobody answers the phone.
okay, and
Where
so
we live in this area, they get bombarded with phone calls. I mean, these people are being bombarded. So
right,
when they look at their phone and they see a number, they don't know, they don't answer it. And that's one of the pitches I use when I talk to somebody. I mean, the first thing I tell them is, look, man, I've been trying. I put the lead in their face for one thing. It's on my ATM. Look, I've been trying to call you. You guys don't answer your phone, so I'm here. I came here to talk to you.
right, and that's the way it is too. So what do you think about this? Like people versus like people are saying, oh, door knocking is an old school way of doing it. I don't know if you heard of that, but I've heard of that definitely. People trying to steer away from door knocking. What do you think of that whole mindset?
Well, you know what? If you can have success doing something else, great. I mean, I'm not going to knock somebody because they don't want to knock on the door. I mean, listen, man, if they could sell policies over the phone and have a good business, great. For me, I haven't had good luck on the phone, man. I mean, I can't, it's hard to get people to answer it.
Right. And so do you see him like do you find it a waste of time to go out there and then, you got to spend gas, hours and money, you spend money and gas, you got to spend hours on the road and you got to spend is maybe when people complain about maintenance and stuff on their vehicle, do you find it worth it to do that?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even think about that, man. I kind of got this from Dennis. So like when you hit that first one, okay, you paid so much for this package of leads. So you sell that first policy, bam, you just covered your leads.
Yep.
Now you sell that second policy, you just covered your gas. So you know what? I just look at it like everything else is extra. And that's the way I approach it. I don't care if they say no. I don't care if they yell at me. I could care less. You know what? I'm just going to keep on going to the next house, the next house, the next house. And sooner or later, you're going to sell.
People need to stop thinking, they need to stop thinking about basically, this is a bill, this is a bill, this is a bill. And I was reading inside of a book the other day, by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it said there's things different. There's assets and there's liabilities. I mean, your car, the gas that you spend in your car and your hours that you spend out door knocking are assets because of the advantage that you get in front of everybody else. So, I mean, you got people that are over the phone. They'll spend 2 weeks trying to get in front of these people where you spend 2 days. You call them on Monday, you go out there Tuesday, you get in front of them. So, I mean, realistically, are you gaining more time by going out in the field, or are you lessening your time? What do you think, Kevin?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't spend a lot of time calling these people. Call them one time. They don't answer the phone. They go straight to voicemail. I go to their house because these people are constantly on voicemail. They don't answer their phone. So I don't even waste my time. You know what? I'm a one-person show like you. I buy a certain amount of leads that I can handle and I make one call. Usually I spend 1 day calling. If I don't get them on the phone, I go to their house.
That's it.
And if they're not home, okay, I bring the lead back home. I don't give up on them. I'll try and call them again on another day, but I just, now I just like going to their house.
I just like going to their house. I love that. What do you think about a no? How do you handle that objection?
You know what? I don't get down. I always try to explain to these people, why we need to do what we need to do and create, if they're just flat out no, well, then they're flat out no. Okay, we go to the next one. That's why I work with Bang Bang, because they give me lots of extra leads.
100%.
When I talked with John, I had some problems because I don't speak Spanish. I tried to give him to Michelangelo. He don't speak Spanish either.
Good white boys.
You know, I you know what? No doesn't, I don't even care about no. I don't care. Just go to the next one.
Okay, so let's see here. So you see, the
I'll
the
tell you a
diverse.
funny story. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a lady. Actually, my wife was making some calls for me. The lady said, no, I don't want nothing. Don't bother me. Okay. I take the lead. I go to the address. The lady whose name was on the lead wasn't there. Her sister was there. I sold the policy to her sister. I sold the policy to another sister, and I sold the policy to the mother. And the one who actually was on the lead that said no, I never even talked to. She wasn't there.
And you got in front of and you sold the other lady?
I sold both her sisters and her mother, and I still got to go back and do the one lady's husband.
See, that's crazy. That's good, man. It's all
And
about
listen, this was in a neighborhood, Jose, that most people would not walk up. These people were sitting in their carports, smoking cigarettes, drinking beers at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And this is in an area in Orlando that's kind of risky. But you know what? I don't even care. I walk right up in their carport, sit down with them, start talking with them, and they love it. And they love me.
Yeah, but you see, like that's I've worked all up in Orlando. I've worked in Tampa. I've worked in the forest over in Ocala. I've worked Ocala and stuff like that. And you see, I mean, there's sketchy times. I mean, there's a time where I called Dennis, and and out there in the forest, and
Yeah,
I
you
was
got to
like,
watch out in Oklawaha. You
yeah,
got to watch out there in Oklahaha.
I was like, do I want to go in here? I mean, like, and he's like, just go in there. And it looked like a horror movie. Like it was over by the bayou, and I didn't know what was going to happen if I walked up to this door. It barely looked like a house, but it was, and I sat there and I taught the lady everything else. As long as you guys have a reason to go to these people and you show, hey, you sent this into us, they're going to be like, oh, okay. And then they're going to appreciate you for reaching out. They don't care. They're not there to hurt you. They're not there. I mean, you got sketchy people out there, but just because they're in a sketchy neighborhood don't mean that. I mean, a lot of these times people are only rivalries when they're with each other, right? A lot of the times they're mad at each other. They'll handle it that way, but you have nothing to do with it. So as long as you're not giving them a mean look, as long as you're not giving them any kind of sideways BS or anything like that, they're not going to bother you. They're not real. I mean, there's times where I've been in Tarpon Springs, gunfight, and and you hear a gun. I mean, what are you going to do? You just move. It wasn't you. They didn't come after you. But I mean, a lot of times, like Dennis carries. I mean, that's just how it is. Protection. I carry a knife on me, my protection, or whatever. But I've always seen like a lot of these times, these older people, final expense, they're in their 60s or in the 70s and 80s. You ain't gonna really have Grandma Margaret come out and be like, "Hey, get off my lawn, or else I'm gonna put a cap in your ass." Not, I mean, that doesn't really happen. You know what I mean? So a lot of people,
The only time that I won't go in a yard, if I'm in a setting like Oklawaha or in a country setting like that, they have a big yard and it's gated and they have no trespassing signs. A lot of times I won't do that. I won't open that gate and walk up there because I know how people are out here. I live in the country. I have a gate, and sometimes you don't go. If the gate's open, fine, we'll go in. If the gate is closed and there's no trespassing signs, it's better to play that one safe.
You know what I do about that? Just go ahead and honk your horn.
Yeah, I just sit in my car and try and call them.
You just honk your horn,
Call.
and if
That's
they,
what I'll do too. I'll honk the horn, try to stir up the dogs. I'll give them a call, let them know I'm sitting there. You know, and I'll even leave. Michelangelo's been with me. He's seen me do that. Hey, I'm sitting here by your gate. And what happened, Michelangelo? They came out, right? With the dog,
Yeah.
right? Guy in a wheelchair comes 300 yards from his trailer up to the fence. To talk to us, which was great. I want to point out too, though, that again, we're making a distinction here between phone calls and going out and seeing people. One of the things that occurs when you go out and see people is you eliminate one of their opportunities to blockade us, right? Because you're going to get in their face. Now, so that takes a step out of it. It's a little more complex with phone calls because we have to get through that whether or not they're going to answer the phone or not. So a few different tactics to utilize is if you don't have another option, what if you're dialing people in another state? And you don't have the option to go door knock them. A lot of times that's occurring. Or someplace where you don't want to drive. It could even be someplace in the same state. The things you do then is you really have to focus on your dialing regimen. You have to embrace that suck and get used to the dial. And those are, traditionally, those are 3 dials. And then you go on, and if you haven't connected with them, then you go on and dial the next lead. So 3 dials, give a little break between each one, and then hop over to the next lead. And,
you know what, you know what I learned though, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know what I learned though, and this is it. I mean, we got all kinds of different products, HMA, PHMA, stuff like that. And I reached out to somebody about PHMA, and I got 2 people that are already interested in networking for PHMA. It's about the quantity of people that you reach out to. I mean, the more people you reach out to, more opportunity you're going to get.
Well, that's exactly right. The first approach to that is you need to be very disciplined in how you approach your dialing, which is what I said. And that means that's what you're doing. You get up, you determine, I'm going to start dialing at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to dial until I hit the numbers I need to achieve my goal for the day. What is your goal? Well, you need to be rational in establishing what that goal is. And as you hit it, increase that goal. What if your goal is, I'm going to sell 1 app a day? 1 app a day. Okay. Sounds easy. Might not always be easy. Maybe tomorrow you sell 3, but today and the day after you don't sell any. So you've averaged 1 a day. Start hitting that goal, and then up that goal. Put more pressure on yourself. But I still apply the same rule. When I'm dialing the phone, I'm dialing for people who are answering. I'm not looking for people who are not answering their phone. I'm going to find them. I don't have to look for those people. I'm moving through them, and I'm focused on what I'm doing, and I'm looking for people who are answering their phone. Period. Now, two things are going to result if I'm trying to do phone sales. One, I'm going to do a deal over the phone. Or 3 things are going to result. 2, I'm going to set an appointment with them to call them back at another date, another time. And that is intent. They're going to know we're going to have an insurance appointment. That's going to be the purpose of that. Or 3, they're going to shut me down. Now, if they shut me down and I think it's a no, I'm not throwing the lead away. So there are a few leads I've been pissed. I've crumpled them up and they've hit the wall, But I'm not throwing those leads away. I'm putting them over here because I'll probably call them back in 2 months or 3 months. They're in I got some time. Let me call these people again pile. And you'd be amazed how many times you can sell those people, whether it's over the phone or whether it's a door knock on those people.
And there's leveraging is another one of them. And that's the one thing, is using your time wisely. And so we could go on and on and on and on and on, Dennis. And I feel like that's maybe another thing we should do next week, is talk about leveraging. Kind of the primary focus today was door knocking. And that's what I'm gonna do every morning on a Monday, is I'm gonna have a conversation like that. On Thursdays, I get the privilege to interview two good friends of mine, Rachel and his name is John Duchette. Was it John? No, Jared Duchette. And I get to have a conversation with them, and they're doing something too, directing towards basically they got a virtual assistant, and they said that they're leveraging and they're getting people off of the agent list of Florida, and growing their team like crazy. They've already brought in about 21 people this year, and off of doing that. And I'm going to interview them and go over that with them. And so it's crazy how much we can actually succeed in this business by the opportunity that we have. But what I want to do is I'm going to stop this